The content of this podcast is based on medical fact and evidence-based practice from credible authoritative sources, but is not a substitute for your institution's policies, procedures, common sense, or good judgment. The views and opinions are those of Eric Bauer and Flight Bridge Ed in their entirety.
The Flight Bridge Ed community spans the globe, and at FAST, our mission is to unify the diverse voices of the pre-hospital and critical care transport community. This includes bringing in perspectives from around the world to enrich and expand our discussion. In this episode of the FAST Archives, we are delighted to feature Helge Junge from Switzerland. Helge's talk, Air Rescue During WEF, Special Conditions and Problems, provides an intriguing glimpse into the logistics and medical challenges faced during the World Economic Forum. His team's innovative approach to care and transport in such a high-profile, demanding environment not only sheds light on unique solutions, but also highlights the adaptability required in critical care transport. Tune in to discover how complex problems are tackled in austere conditions and enjoy a talk that's as informative as it is fascinating.
I commence mis presentation sota WEF in la lingua romancha. Oh, I guess you couldn't understand me, right? Switzerland has 4 official languages. It's, as you may be known, French, German, Italian, and Romansh Grishun. And in the area where I live now, around about 15,000 people speaking this as mother language. 15,000. And to keep this language alive, they have their own television, their own radio, and their own newspapers. So that was Romansh Grishun. I'm a little bit jealous. Maybe our friends from Denmark can correct me, but I don't know a meeting in Europe addressed to EMS personnel in this manner and this style and quality, right? Right. So I'm really jealous, and therefore I'm very honored to be part of this. Thank you for inviting me, Eric. Where you are? Thank you for inviting me, Eric. During the birth of my first son, it's a couple of years ago, my wife suffered from cardiac arrest, and I had the privilege to resuscitate her. And I promise you, I will do it again if I have to need to. But therefore, I have a disclosure because I have a really strong financial and emotional relationship to her. So, the topic is Air Rescue During WEF, World Economic Forum, the problems there and the solutions. But first, let me say something to my name. It's Helge Junge. Don't try to repeat without any linguistic training. Except you are from Scandinavia or Germany, then it's possible. So when I earlier went to Starbucks and they asked me the name, so I don't try Helge because that's unimpossible in foreign languages than German or Scandinavian. And I said it's Junge, like Junge. I figured out Junge, it's like jungle without an L. So I told them it's Junge, it's like jungle without an L. Doesn't work. So now I use Benjamin. Why Benjamin? Because Benjamin in Europe, in some countries in Europe, is either the youngest son in the family or the second son in the family. And I'm both, so it's Benjamin. So call me Ben if you have any questions, please. So next step is I have to do an agreement with you all because the stuff I am telling to you is under a secret concept. You will understand in a few minutes why. And therefore I have the permission to talk to you by the police of the canton I live and the Swiss Army. So the agreement is you can share the information I am giving to you however and when you want. So what is the content of my speech? It's what is the WEF? I don't know if you ever heard something about the World Economic Forum. Why is this a possibility mass casualty? And how we treat the special conditions there and the problems regarding HAMS and transportation of patients. But first, I'm from Europe. That's Europe. A lot of countries there. Switzerland is right there in the middle. And our friends from Denmark are the other blue country up there. And it's close to Ukraine. You can see this. Ukraine is right here. It's only 1,000 miles away. So you can expect that the people in Europe are a little bit afraid of this war there. And affected also. And the canton where I live is this one. And the main city is Chur. That's where I live. And the WEF takes place in Davos. It's here. So it's a distance up to the Alps. And I'm working here in this hospital. And we are the hospital with the most helicopter landings in Switzerland. Therefore, we provide 5 helipads. And they are sometimes occupied. And this one is not a helipad, that's position 6. So sometimes we need this. There in the corner I live, that's my house. And from there I can see them coming, hear them, see them coming. And believe me, that's only a good thing if we are not on call. So the WEF, what is it? It is an independent international organization established 52 years ago. And they say from itself, we are committed to improving the state of the world by bringing together people from business, politics, academic leaders, society leaders to solve global problems. And why is this a possibility mass casualty? We have a lot of VIPs there, up to 250. And they are all there in 4 days. And we believe that is very attractive for terrorists to attack this place when all these people are there. And the officials ask me, how many patients can you treat? How many patients can I treat there? So I said, as much as you like, if you give me the money and the resources. So they said me, we wish like to have you to treat 300. So let us go a step back to Paris a couple of years ago, where some terrorists attacked in different places in Paris, a disco, a club, and other sites, coffee shops and so. And they had 150 deaths and around about 300 severe injured people. So they asked me to do that, what they in Paris are doing. So Paris has 2 million inhabitants and all the facilities and EMS services for 2 million inhabitants. My canton has 200,000 inhabitants and I have those resources. So they asked me to treat 300,000 people with less resources than you can imagine. And therefore, we have to build up a system, a concept, how we can do that. It's around about 45 miles up in the mountains. And we have to solve these problems of distance. We have to solve the problems of transport. And this city, you see here a nice picture and a Swiss Army helicopter. This city has only 10,000 inhabitants and a small hospital with 60 beds. So 300 we have to treat. So some VIPs, and when I'm talking about VIP, I will say these people are a VIP in the point of view from the WEF is a person who is internationally protected by law, as presidents or kings or people like that. What our problems are. In the left corner above you can see a checkpoint. Police is to Davos. It's one way in, one way out, nothing else. So they can easily control who is coming to Davos and who is leaving Davos. we have a lot of snow, a lot of traffic. We have security zones where you can only go in with permission of the police. You need a badge. You have to check your equipment. You have to leave your weapons, of course. And we have a restricted flight area. So Swiss Army is protecting this with the fighters in the air 24 hours all the conference long. And every year they accompany aircraft to the next airport. And that makes it difficult because only requisite helicopters, HEMS helicopters, may fly into this zone. And we try to help us 60 beds hospital. So we build a hospital before the hospital, or a mass casualty unit, or a field hospital. However, in a sports hall, we can have 200 beds there. We try to bring all less injured people into this facility, to keep them there, to provide the hospitals in the area from too much people at one time, that they can concentrate on those who need surgery, for example. So therefore I have 15 emergency physicians, 35 paramedics, and around about 100 military medical personnel, but they are trained not so, maybe they can do the things like EMT, not more. There we do triage, there we do intervention to save lives. We stabilize patient there and prepare them for transportation. And we can do their decontamination as well in case of an ABC attack, but not for 300. The hospital, in a case of a mass casualty, we transfer into a field hospital as well. So they do the same. They do triage, they do stabilization, preparation for transportation, and then the patient leaves this hospital to get the place for the next patient. Therefore, we have 4 helicopter landing sites, a heliport, and at the both facilities, and in the middle, in the congress, we can land on request. We have only 1 SAR helicopter and 3 regional HEMS helicopters, which are registered to fly into the restricted area. And we can get 2 Super Pumas, this on the slide before, this Swiss Army helicopter, but they need 2 hours to prepare them to transport 6 patients at once. So here you can see the heliport landing site. The problem there, it is in an avalanche zone. So if an avalanche came down, the road is closed and the heliport is closed. So we need something to escape strategy, and that's a train. We can put 24 patients into this train, and I have the personnel of 1 doctor and 2 paramedics to transport them down the valley, and it's an hour. So you can imagine, if we can't fly, and if we can't use the road, the only road that exists, we are, back on the wall, and we have to do disaster medicine, and we have to accept that people will die because we can't equally transport them to the nearest hospital and to the best surgery they can get. And only 4 helicopters, and I have to get them back. So down in the valley, we established a transfer point where we have a big landing site and also a small field hospital where we can hand over our patients to other helicopters which are not allowed to fly to Davos, but they are allowed to fly to this point. And then we shuttle with our helicopters the patients down there, and they will bring them to the next center hospital, 2 hospitals around Switzerland, so Austria, Germany, France, Italy, or as far away as they can. So I want them get back. So that's our escalating scheme. I will show you how we do this. We have these both field hospitals, And we have the heliport, we have the transfer point, and we have the hospitals around in the region. And if we have just 5 or 6 patients, then we bring them directly in the hospitals and it's done, like everyday business. If we have more than them to transport them at once, at one time, we bring them in the units. From there, maybe to the heliport to give them to these Super Pumas, or we bring them to the transfer point, or if the situation comes better, we can bring them from there to the central hospital. If it's more than that, the only way is this, to go to the transfer point, to get my resources back, and then we hope to survive a mass casualty for 6 hours, something like that. And if it's then more we can handle. The idea is to transfer the hospitals in the canton to damage control surgery points. And then we bring them in these hospitals. They do primary surgery to let the people survive. Bring them from there in follow-up surgery hospitals around Switzerland. And maybe they will get them back to treat them until they are able to discharge. So that's how we try to work. Thank you so much.
This has been a production of the Flight Bridge Ed podcast, leading the way in pre-hospital critical care and emergency medicine education.